Hello and welcome back to the channel. You're watching Christian California Conservative and I am your hostess Anna Smith. So this video is about the topic of making better food choices based on the ethical treatment of animals and your own personal health improvement. And I don't know for sure, but I feel like some people might find it surprising for a channel that is based on being a conservative channel to talk about these kind of topics, but that is a part of why I called myself California Conservative. I don't know if this is like a real term that is like documented anywhere. I actually tried looking it up on the internet and I couldn't really find anything, but I actually heard somebody else on YouTube, the Elijah, I believe his last name is Schaefer, the host of Slightly Offensive, refers to himself as a California conservative, and I think it's just kind of comes down to that we tend to be a little bit less like staunch or extreme or whatever you want to call it as far as conservatism goes. I think people probably in places like Texas or other parts of the South or the Midwest or something might have more strict views, or however you say it. I consider myself a conservative, but I do care a lot about the environment and about treating animals well. I like to buy fair trade. I care about the conditions of every creature in the world. And I think that kind of comes from all the liberal influence in California. Both sides of the political spectrum have their pros and cons. Nobody is all good or all bad. And being a conservative in California kind of can put you in like a middle ground, I guess you could say. In my last upload, I had talked about how I like to eat free-range products, and I had included a link to a photo montage of a lot of the products that I had tried, animal products that are free-range and non-GMO and organic, all that type of thing. This video is kind of an upgrade of that and an add-on. So I'm going to start by saying that I am not here to try to push an agenda on anybody. As I said in the last video, I'm not here to try to tell you what you should do and that you're a bad person if you don't. I'm just going to share my personal convictions on the topic and tell you why I feel that way. And you are free to make your own choices. And I don't want to be judging anybody, and I don't want anybody stressing themselves out trying to save the world by buying only free-range products and beating themselves up if they ever mess up. I aim to only do that, but every once in a while I forget and accidentally buy something else or just don't think about it, and it's just, oh well, try again next time. So I'm going to start off with some photos of what factory farming looks like. And factory farms are where most of the consumable animal products that are on the market come from. And I think it was seeing this stuff, the way that the animals are treated, and just how dirty and nasty the conditions seem to look, and all of that kind of originally got me to not want to support that anymore. So I'm going to show you some photos that I found. Factory farming, a method of rearing livestock using intensive methods. Factory farm, an industrialized farm. So a day has passed since I started recording this video, which is why I'm looking a little different now. I'm really trying not to rush through these things because I want to give you the best quality that I can every time. Alright, so from the photos that I just showed you, you can see how factory farming tends to be just very crammed in, dark, dirty, kind of overall depressing circumstances for the animals involved. And according to Doris Lin, who has a doctorate from USC, as well as a Bachelor's of Science in Applied Biological Sciences, she was the director of legal affairs for a couple different animal rights groups. I just read an article by her. So she was saying that factory farming producers really can't afford to pay attention to the needs and safety and everything of each individual animal, because the animals are really just a commodity for them, and they do whatever it takes to, increase their bottom line and increase productivity. And so the animals tend, I think it was like 2/3 of the animals sold in the US are given growth hormones to, get them to slaughter weight more quickly and everything. And these hormones can often give them illnesses, such as like blood and pus secreting in the milk udders of cows, which is disgusting. And so they tend to give them antibiotics to counteract the sickness that they're giving them from the hormones. And sometimes trace amounts or whatever, maybe more than that, of antibiotics can show up in the food that we eat. And actually, from what I've read, the US is like the only country that is still doing that. I know the European Union and Canada passed laws against using the antibiotics and hormones and everything. So that's food for thought, no pun intended. And so we've just talked about how poorly these animals are treated and what their conditions are like. And since this is a Christian channel and I'm giving you my Christian perspective, I really don't believe that that is something that God, Jesus, would be okay with. There's a bunch of different verses in the Bible that talk about the way that animals should be treated, and that they all belong to God and He takes care of them. There is also a hierarchy between animals and humans. That's kind of a side point, but basically God cares about the animals. He takes care of them and protects them and knows about all of them, and making us as humans stewards of the animals, that meant that God wants us to take care of them and respect them as well. And I just don't believe that's what's going on with factory farming. So let me show you the top 2 Bible verses that I chose for this video. A righteous man has kind regard for the life of his animal, but even the compassion of the wicked is cruel. Proverbs 12:10. Be diligent to know the condition of your flocks and pay attention to your herds. Proverbs 27:23. So some people out there in the world have taken this information about the way that the animals that are killed for food are treated and have decided to be vegan and just stop eating any animal products whatsoever, because, also the cows that are used for milk and other dairy products are treated equally as poorly. And some Christian vegans who I've spoken to or heard about have pointed to the end of Genesis chapter 1 to support why they are vegan. And this is what that says. So, taken at face value and without very much context of the rest of the Bible, this passage from the first chapter of Genesis can kind of make sense as to why some Christians would believe that they should be vegan. But this is something that Jesus said right when he was finished creating the earth initially, and Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, which was like a paradise on earth, and it was before they had sinned, and they were in perfect fellowship with God. I believe they actually spoke like voice to voice with God and everything. But then after Adam and Eve did sin by eating the fruit of the one tree that they were not supposed to, that was considered the fall of mankind, and things started to change. And then later on in the Bible, in the New Testament, you will come across the accounts of Peter, a disciple of Jesus, who had a vision one day when he was taking a nap up on the roof. And he was hungry. And as the meal was being prepared, he fell into a trance. He saw the sky open, and something like a large sheet was let down by its four corners. In the sheet were all sorts of animals, reptiles, and birds. Then a voice said to him, "Get up, Peter, kill and eat them." "No, Lord," Peter declared, "I have never eaten anything that our Jewish laws have declared impure and unclean." But the voice spoke again, "Do not call something unclean if God has made it clean." The same vision was repeated 3 times. Then the sheet was suddenly pulled up to heaven. So taking both of these events into context, we can see that God did originally create the universe where everything was an herbivore, according to Genesis chapter 1. But after the fall of man, things changed. People started to eat animals, I believe. But the Jewish law spoke against that. There was a whole list of unclean animals. And after Jesus died on the cross, which was the atonement for sin, he abolished this Jewish law. And then he came to Peter and told him that you can eat animals and I'm okay with it and it's not a sin. So I don't really see myself Genesis chapter 1 as being a particularly good reason to be a vegan. People will do whatever they are going to do for whatever reason. I just don't see that as a very convincing argument for myself based on this full context. But as we mentioned earlier, God does also want us to treat animals with respect and care and love. So that is what has led me to try to only support free range or pasture raised farming. And this video is getting a little bit long, so I've decided I'm going to make this a part 1 and come out with a part 2 soon, which will go into the different types of non-factory farmed animal products you can get, the difference between cage-free, free-range, and pasture-raised eggs, so on and so forth. Go into some details about that stuff. And yeah, so for now, just like this video if you liked it. Please press the like button and share with anyone who you think might also be interested. Leave me any comments you would like to. I love to hear what anybody has to say. Have a fabulous evening, afternoon, night, morning, whatever time zone you are in. And check out the link in my description for CTFO, the CBD line that I am a representative for. If you are interested in that, there are products for people of all ages and animals. So that's a way that you can pamper and take care of any pets that you have. Thanks again for being here, and have an excellent rest of your day, afternoon, evening, or night. Talk to you soon. Bye.